Hello, welcome back. This is Stephanie Fetterman, and this is the Grow in Grief podcast. We are so excited to have you back. This is my beautiful friend, Nekia. I am so excited to have you here and share your story.
Well, thank you for asking me to be a part of this today. So, my story is that I was born into this world by my mom. She was 14, my dad was 16. And so raising children was just hard back in the day. And so because my parents were so young, my grandmother kind of took the reins on the relationship and just basically sent my father away.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 2, my mom met my stepfather, and he was the person that just kind of stepped into those shoes and became my father.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of he raised me. He accepted me as his own. I was the last of 7 children. So he just taught me so many life lessons and really poured into me as a father should,
Mm-hmm.
his daughter. It was last year, right after Easter, where I learned that he was being moved into hospice, and my heart just broke.
Mm-hmm.
None of the children knew that he was sick. None of the children knew that he had any health issues. And so just suddenly was news that he's ill, come
Mm-hmm.
now. I was shocked, I was stunned, and immediately grief set into me in my heart. And I had never experienced grief to this magnitude ever in life.
Mm-hmm.
I remember losing my great-grandmother when I was a little girl, but never to this extent have I lost anyone this close to me. So I didn't know what I was experiencing. It was my husband that told me, "You're experiencing grief,"
Mm-hmm.
because the tears would just fall. And I would think of all the memories and the good times that I had with my dad and all the life lessons that he taught me. And so I immediately ran to his bedside, and he was unrecognizable, and that was hard.
Yeah.
So it was me saying my goodbyes right then and there and making peace with his passing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was easier said than done, because you don't want them to go, but
Yeah.
I grabbed a hold of all the things that he taught me. And I thanked him
Mm-hmm.
for those life lessons, because they truly carried me through life. He was given 6 months to live. He is still living today, thank God. He actually had a period where he gotten better and was gaining weight, but his memory is leaving him daily.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, grief now is just me making peace
Mm-hmm.
with that. You know, he'll transition any day,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to know that I did have a father that loved me.
Mm-hmm.
Even on his sick bed, he calls me today and just says, "I love you and have a good day."
Aww.
Yeah, and that means so much to me. And that's something that I always carry with me. And it had gotten so bad with my grief that I found it really hard to find that peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I had called an old friend, and I was just kind of sharing some things with her, and she said, "Well, you know, your gift heals you."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I never thought about it like that, because at the time I wasn't using my gift. I was serving in other capacities, but I wasn't using the gift that God had given me and put me on this earth to do. So I just say to anyone that if you have purpose, if you understand what your purpose, your God-given purpose is on this planet is, that is what will heal you in times where you feel hurt and broken and you go through the toughest seasons. And it wasn't until I got back to it where I fully understood that it does.
Yeah.
It brought me peace. And so the things that I found in that time to kind of propel me to that place of peace was just servitude.
Yeah.
I'm a servant at heart. I love people. I love serving people, and so making coffee on a Sunday brought me joy.
Yeah.
In those times, greeting people, passing out t-shirts, whatever I could do to help, those were things that I found peace in doing.
Yeah.
During that time where it was really tough for me to make peace with it. Allowing God to fill me.
Yeah.
When I wasn't using my gift, there were lots of moments where I just would be on my knees and I just would say, God, fill me up.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
He did. And so I just used that time where I wasn't using my gift as a time of refilling.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was filling some new holes.
Yeah.
And that new hole of pain, of grief, he was filling it up.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that we can come to him and ask him to fill us up.
Yeah.
And he will.
Yeah. I definitely believe that, there's something to be said about when you're going through struggles to just focus on other things, because in a way, it takes our eyes off of what we're going through, and it just makes it a little bit easier. Not that it takes it away, but it just makes it a little bit easier to go through. And I think that's why so many times in the Bible they say fix your eyes on Jesus, because as we're going through troubles in this world, because that is a guarantee, regardless of whether you're a believer or not, we will encounter trouble in this world. And when we're able to fix our eyes on Jesus or serving others in some capacity, there's so much healing that comes from that.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And so I was glad to have those moments where I could step in and serve coffee and serve others and allow God to fill me in that time. Another way that kind of helped me through and propelled me to peace was surrounding myself around positivity.
Yeah.
I'm such a relational person, and God uses people. And
Yeah.
so, small group friends,
Mm-hmm.
friends that I've made at the church, have definitely been there for me through this time.
Yeah.
Whether going to lunch or brunch or coffee, definitely helped me a great deal.
Yeah.
And just being a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on. So I am so appreciative of being a part of a church that loves being in relationship.
Yeah. It's so important, because I can only say that I've been to a handful of churches, but when it's one of those churches that don't embrace, like I know that our church embraces small groups and being in communication and community with other people. But if you're at a church that doesn't embrace that, you just get lost in the shuffle. And I know at our previous church, we had small groups, but I know for Lucas and I, in that season that we were at that church, we were so busy. He was commuting an hour and a half one way to work. I was going through nursing school. So it was so difficult to actually be in community with other people. And I think for us, we really struggled to, one, get connected like we should have, but also developing those relationships. And I think that there's so much value in being in relationship with other people and having friends and having fellow believers surrounding you, because they are the ones that will be helping you through any kind of struggle that you're going through.
Yeah.
Aside from obviously God helping us through.
Yes, I totally agree. Don't do life alone. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what would be probably one of the things that you learned throughout the biggest lesson that you learned through? I guess that's kind of an off question from what I told you to prepare for.
I would say just one of the things is that one of the biggest things is kind of what I've already mentioned, is that just your gift heals you.
Yeah.
And so whatever your purpose is, just to I know sometimes we have to sit it down.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just like one of those things where we do really something that we do really well, whether it's knitting or sewing, and we kind of tuck it away, tuck it in, on the shelf for a little bit, and we're hurting and we're grieving. But sometimes when you pick those things back up, and realize that, what, I really did enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
You'll kind of ease your way back into it. It kind of just helps your mind and helps you find a place of peace just in doing something that you used to enjoy.
Yeah.
So I just encourage anybody that's maybe experiencing grief, maybe you've put something down that you used to do.
Yeah.
Maybe you used to, sew or knit or cook or, anything. Just maybe try picking it back up and finding, the love for that again. And I know that can definitely help you get to a place of peace and, find a little bit of joy.
Yeah. So good. What would be 3 takeaways, even if you're repeating what you've already said, what would be 3 takeaways that you would say to somebody else that's going through the same thing?
Definitely, 3 takeaways for me is just the Word of God for me was, it was food. It was definitely nourishment for my spirit, my soul, the headspace that I was in, it's not an answer, it's the answer.
Yeah.
There's so many scriptures that tell us that, yes, we will go through life and face trials and tests, but it also tells us what to do in those times.
Yeah.
And those moments. And those are scriptures that we need to speak over ourselves often, daily. Yeah. Something else that I found helpful was, prayer and asking God to heal the areas where I was hurting.
Yeah.
And He definitely will. And even with that, He'll send people to pray with you, or, like I said, to just go and have coffee.
Go and get tacos.
Or tacos. And just our small groups.
Yeah.
Small groups are just the best creation. And again, it's surrounding yourself with love and light, like-minded people. Don't do life alone.
Yeah.
Don't do grief alone.
Yeah.
If you don't have to, find that place and space that feels good, that feels comfortable. And I can't see anyone that says, hey, I'm going through someone, and people not reach out a hand to help and pray.
Yeah. So good. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming on this podcast. I appreciate all that you shared, and I hope that it brings healing to somebody today. Remember, goodbyes are not guaranteed. I hope that this podcast watered your life so you can grow in grief today. If you have something that you would like to bring to my attention for us to talk about on this podcast, please email me at growingrief@gmail.com. Thank you.